Eliminate the workplace excuse. That's what leaders do. This is the Career Blind Spot Podcast.
Juan, CBQ, what is the skills blind spot?
So the skills blind spot is a lot of people don't really know what soft skills are. Think of it as technical skills, like what's a hard skill in your opinion?
I feel like programming, Excel.
Usually it's what you need to know to get a job. Like you either are a brain surgeon or you're not.
So would it be fair to say usually they're easier to have like a metric around?
Measurable.
Measurable, okay.
And I like to think of it as like you can show someone, this is how you type, this is how you fix the plumbing, etc.
I don't know why when you said that I saw you as like a person typing one key at a time. This is how you type.
This is how you type. Okay. Whereas soft skills or the skills blind spot, I'm talking about the soft skills or the competencies. Basically, hey, we hired you because you know how to program, but we're going to promote you because, man, you're a good leader and you communicate effectively, you run team meetings, or we got to let you go, or you're no longer the leader because you can't do X, Y, and Z. So the skills blind spot is that I think a lot of people don't even know that difference, at least put it into words, but more importantly, what should I be working on?
Yeah.
So that's the question we're going to talk about today. But real quick, if you haven't already, in the notes is a blind spot survey. We're going in reverse to break down the 60-day coaching framework that I put my clients through great results. Courtney has actually been a guinea pig for the last 15 years, and she'll speak to her own experience. But we're going to go in reverse because of the more layman's terms. Whether this is your first episode with Career Blind Spot or you've heard it all before, I believe this will best engage old school and newbies. So take that survey.
And make sure that you go to careerblindspot.com for that blind spot coaching PDF that you can purchase.
Yeah. So you don't have to have that, but that'll help you organize all these thoughts, that all of these blind spots, when you engage them, help you get to the goal that you want, not in a linear fashion. I realize that doesn't work for me and it doesn't work for most people. It works for many, but the majority of us who are like, I've done everything right. I have the title, I have the pay, but I'm missing something. I'm stuck. I'm overwhelmed. I'm bored at best, miserable at worst.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, I need another certificate. And you're like, no,
exactly.
You don't.
Yeah. And well, it's not, you don't need it to get to your goal. You
Right.
need to do some other stuff. You want to do other things, but sometimes out of biased reasons. So back to the topic of skills blind spots, they're like muscles. When you go to the gym, and we see it all the time, it's that the stereotype is men tend to have stronger upper bodies because we're stronger there, but we don't work out our legs. And it's reverse for females or people with different anatomy. We work out the muscles that we're stronger in.
Right.
But if you've never lifted a day in your life and you lift weights for the next 90 days, you're going to get strong. And if you've lifted the last 10 years really effectively and you take off the next 6 months, what's going to happen?
Well, you're going to be very out of shape. You're going to go back to yoga and not even be able to do a freaking handstand like me.
That's a little personal, but you're going to lose. Not entirely, but you'll definitely lose it. But easy come, easy go. The skills, like our muscles, we have biases. We have natural strengths. And some of the key ones, not just for leaders in career switching or getting your team to be a better leader, there's 25 skills that are going to be in the show notes that you can see. And if you have the PDF, you'll get a short definition. But you don't need to be great at all 25. And when people do this is actually one of the assessments I give in the 60-day coaching from TTI. The cream rises to the top. And by that, I mean, people are going to score high in some and low in others. Now, leaders, especially those people who are either very confident or have a lot of arrogance, maybe both, tend to score high in a lot.
Okay.
But there's going to be something that's low. I've also seen very talented people, successful people, accredited people score low across the board. So what I conclude is that this is just a reflection of what I like doing, what I think I'm good at, or both, or what I don't like doing, what I know I'm not good at, or both. To some degree.
You brought up leaders. Are there like specific things that leaders are usually better at, like good leaders?
Yes. So shout out to TTI, late great Bill Bonstetter, was my boss when I worked there and gave me his blessing to go off and not bother him so much. But wrote about it in my book, A New Work Mindset. The 5 skills that he, in this research problem, I really wish I had the details, but whether or not we do, you're going to see the logic that good, strong leaders, in his experience with this project with the client, scored high or were developed in 4 of 5 skills. My little acronym for it, or mnemonic device, acronym is GD TIP: goal orientation, decision making, time and priority management. Interpersonal skills was what he had. I've evolved that to influencing others. I'll explain why when we get there. And then personal accountability. You don't need to be flawless at all of them, but a good leader in this company that he was working with was strong and rated well high in these 5 areas by their teams. And I think it was all women, just a coincidence. This was like 90s. So what I realized is everyone, we have our biases. We want to work on skills that we enjoy doing, we're already strong in, and we don't want to work on skills that we don't like doing and we're not strong in.
Yeah. So let's take mine, for example, since I've been your guinea pig for 15 years. What's one of my high ones?
So your 2 higher ones are goal orientation and personal accountability.
Yeah. Give me goals and I
Yeah.
will make it happen, or I'll tell you if I can't.
Where's the finish line and how can I take responsibility to get it done?
So what's my lower ones that I don't want to work on?
So let's be clear for those following along. These are skills that Courtney actually either likes doing, is confident in doing, if not both. But you tell me, Courtney, when you first saw those, were you surprised or did they make sense?
I mean, they were surprised until I really thought about it. I'm like, yes, I do like to set goals and exceed them.
But you hadn't been doing it
Correct.
for the goals that we were working on. Now, mind you, we just had kids and everything, and Courtney crushed it. We have big chunky babies. They laugh, they're happy. You hit the goal on that. We
Yes.
made happy babies. Shout out to all the IVF people, successful with their miracle babies or not. We empathize because it takes a lot of skills. It's
Right.
not just your credit card and investment and shots. But on the lower side, time priority management, influencing others, and decision making. Courtney, it's not that she can't do these things,
Yeah.
but you tell me, how do those
I mean,
skills
the
sound?
time and priority management, when I heard that one, I was like, how am I not good at that? I feel like I'm very good at that. I'm very succinct in my meetings and my emails, and I don't waste time. And then I was thinking with my passion projects or things that I get roped into, I waste a lot of time on things that are not the priority.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time delineating what is the priority and what is just somebody else's urgency.
This is a little throwback to our cringe words, but opening the kimono here to Courtney and I relationships. But when it comes to time and priority management, I will raise my hand and kind of criticize my partner here, where other people's priorities, whether at family or coworkers, she's on it.
Always.
But when it's hers or mine, it's not necessarily as urgent. And I've told Courtney before, I can count on you in a crisis. I don't want a crisis to count on you. And when it comes to Mondays, that I go, look, at the end of the day, I know you're going to get on your work calls and you're going to do all the other things that other people are waiting on. When are you going to do the things for yourself? So it's not that she can't do it, but that muscle is not as developed as hitting the goals that are already out there and taking responsibility. And if anything, this is a little clinical, and Courtney, feel free to, add as much personal as you want or not want to, given recent changes in your life. But the personal accountability, when you're doing it and you're hitting your goals,
Mm-hmm.
it's great. But when you're not, I think a little inner critic volume goes all the way up.
All the way up.
And it counts the ways that you are just a terrible, worthless person.
Just failing, left and right. Won't shut up. Yep.
So this blind spot is it's like the inevitability. You have these muscles that are either working for you or not. And so what can you do with this? Especially if you've dived in, you're like, holy crap, I thought I was good at this or that. But as it relates to my goals, what skills or what do I do at all? So what I encourage you is to develop intentionally and eagerly. Now, if you're paying attention, but you're also biased, you might hear that I'm kind of mean or direct to Courtney at times. Well, in your words, Courtney, how am I to you? You say I'm never mean.
You're blunt but kind.
There you go.
Always.
And
And I like the way you talk to
at least,
me.
yeah. But for people who haven't heard, I can understand someone being like, hey, man, that's rude, and
Oh, I
be
give it right
whatever.
back to you.
But also I tell Courtney, I'm like, well, I want you to. You don't always.
Yeah.
And you have gotten, I want to say better, but I was like, you are my partner. I don't just say that to freak out conservative people who are afraid that I
is
might be
fun,
gay.
though.
But I say it because you're my equal, maybe not my better half, but I count on you.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
don't
you're
like
the
the better half.
COO. Sometimes I'm the COO.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're the CEO. Sometimes we need to hire a CEO. And so holding you accountable, but also giving you grace is a skill. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because you're talking about holding me accountable, and I'm thinking about your 1-star review you asked for earlier.
Oh, that's what did you say?
Juan asked me if you had to give my coaching a 1-star review, what would you say? And I was like, that this coach doesn't accept 90%.
Courtney, the other day I go, hey, where are you at with X, Y, and Z? Because she did ask for some formal coaching. And I'm checking in and I can just like a little kid, like, where's your report card, Courtney? And she's like, well, I did most of it. I'm like, oh, I'm not saying you did. I'm asking, where's the other 10%? Why aren't you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You asked for this help. I'm not mad at you. In fact, I tell those of you who will curious about working with me, if you're like, Juan, I didn't do jack shit. I think what you came up with is stupid, or I changed my mind. I don't care what it is. All I want you is to tell me that. Just be honest, because these goals that you had set at one point were important to you now have changed. Now, most of the time, that's not going to be the case. You're going to be more like, I'm afraid,
I'm
scared.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
That is key, especially you can get it out of your head. I can hold space for you, but then we can get the best parts of you to show up with confidence. And that brings us back to the how, intentionally and eagerly. My advice, the process. This is actually, again, the end. We're going to talk about 4 more blind spots on these next preceding episodes. Is double down on the one skill, soft skill, that is going to move you to your goal.
Mm-hmm.
So as your goal change, so do the tools that you need. As your like vacation destination or your extreme sport, you're going to need different tools. But there is probably a skill. I don't care if you scored high in it or not, but when you look at it, like what's one off the top of your head that you like doing? Do you remember? If not, I can give you one.
Give me one.
Like project management.
Yeah.
Maybe you hear her voice. It was like, yeah, it's okay. How about planning and organizing?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you
That's
hear the
it.
difference? Creativity and innovation.
Yes.
Futuristic thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can hear it. I call it the shoulder test. You open them up versus, yeah, I guess I can do that. Double down on that. If that's a class and you're already getting an A, get an A+. You're never done. You still might avoid this, but when you're doing it, you will forget. You will like go Super Saiyan and you will just hit that next level. Might not last forever. And I'm not saying you have to do it every day, but it's going to give you energy to get to that goal. But then the other part is find the one skill that you hate doing. No, I'm sorry. Find the one skill that you know is going to help you with your goals
Yeah.
that you don't want to do.
For me, that's time and priority management, which is so funny because in therapy yesterday, we talked about how I need to stop prioritizing everybody else's needs and start taking care of me and my family.
It's semantics.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't,
semantics
it's
are
not that
so
you're not good
important.
at time and priorities. It's
Right.
your time, your priorities.
Right.
And it's not what you're doing for others is bad. You know, depending on what you believe, it's not like, oh, you know what? I help my grandma do this thing or help my mom or my brother or my sister or whatever it is. That's not bad. But in purpose of getting to your goals, you're not bringing your best there. So that's an area that it's easy to avoid because also helping everyone else, you're taking responsibility and hitting their goals.
Right.
So that other skill that would help, but at the very least you avoid it or at worst you hate it, just show up to class. You're failing. Go sleep in the back. And what happens is when you double down on that first one, you have enough energy somewhere else. But I'm not looking for you to get like an A in that class. Really, I just want like a D+. And we don't need to do a lot of it, but we need to do enough of it. And chances are what you think you need to do is far more than what you actually need to do.
That's very true.
And so the CTA, which I guess I've already jumped down on, is for you. Whether you have the PDF, definitely take that survey. It's going to help you out quite a bit because it's going to tell you which blind spot is most prevalent and also which is your strongest, which that's where I would start. But double down on one skill that you believe is going to help you get your goal. And be mindful of the one skill that you're avoiding that you really just need to give 1% effort. Do 1 push-up every morning or 1 push-up a week. I don't care what it is, but do something. But it's that first one. That's 98% of the hack. So that is it for today. Stay tuned for the next 4 blind spots, and we'll see you for the next one.
Bye.
I make this show for leaders, those who don't point fingers, but point towards ways they can do better at work. My ask for listening is you share the show on social and or with other leaders, established or aspiring. Until then, no talent, no culture, no excuses.